say time heals all wounds, but they never mention what it does to dreams. Time rots dreams, if you let it. Time erodes ambition, if you wait too long. And time buries the weak, those who wanted it, but not enough to bleed for it. Success, real success, is not glamorous. It is not some sparkling mountaintop reserved for the lucky or the talented. It is a graveyard, a battlefield, a twisted path littered with broken bones of those who started strong but gave up when it got quiet, when it got cold, when no one was clapping anymore. You want the truth? The real truth? Most people quit right before the finish line. They crawl for miles through hell, then surrender because they can't see the victory yet. They confuse delay with denial. They misinterpret silence as failure. And worst of all, they forget that persistence is the gatekeeper of destiny. See, the ones who win aren't the fastest. They're not the smartest. They're the ones who refuse to die. Persistence is ugly. It's lonely. It doesn't get applause. It doesn't come with a parade. It comes with rejection. It comes with closed doors. It comes with pain, silence, and a whisper in your head that says, maybe this isn't meant for you. And that's when the war begins. The war isn't outside of you. It's within. It's not about your circumstances. It's about your threshold. How much can you take before you break? Persistence means showing up when it's thankless. It means grinding when it's joyless. It means fighting when every voice tells you to fold. You don't need more motivation. You need a spine. You need teeth. You need to become the type of beast that doesn't stop. Not because it's easy, not because it feels good, but because stopping is not an option anymore. Look around. You think you're the only one who's tired, who's frustrated, who's been building in silence for years with nothing to show. You're not. But the difference is, most will break. You better become the one who bends, but never breaks. Because success doesn't knock politely. It slams into you when you're bloodied, broken, and still crawling forward. It waits until you've been forgotten, until the world has turned its back. And then, when you persist long enough, it reveals itself. But only to those who've earned it through pain. Only to those who kept swinging while blindfolded. Only to those who outlasted the doubt, the fear, the weakness, the timelines. So I'll ask you now, can you outlast the silence? Can you persist when there's no proof it's working? Can you keep moving forward when hope feels like a distant memory? Because that's the price. That's what it takes to break through. Success isn't reached by those who dabble. It belongs to those who burn for it, who wake up to fight, who go to sleep wounded but not defeated, who understand that persistence is not a tactic, it's an identity. So if you're in the dark right now, good. That's where diamonds are formed. That's where legends are carved. That's where you become something the world can't ignore. So keep going, even if you're limping, even if you're blind, even if you're alone. Because in the end, persistence isn't about making it look easy. It's about never stopping until it's yours. And if you can become that kind of monster, the kind who never dies, the kind who never stops, the kind who persists even when success seems out of reach, then nothing can stop you. Not time, not fear, not fate. Because when you refuse to quit, you cannot lose. Ever. Success doesn't come to the most talented or the most privileged. It comes to the ones who refuse to quit. The ones who keep pushing, keep fighting, even when the world goes dark. But now the question is this: how do you do it? How do you persist when your strength is gone? When the results don't show? When the silence screams louder than your progress? You don't need blind hope. You need a strategy, a weaponized plan forged in fire. So here it is, 5 brutal steps to take you from barely surviving to unstoppable. Let's break them down. Step 1. Accept that it will hurt. Do it anyway. Let's begin where most people stop. Pain. The moment something gets difficult, uncomfortable, or uncertain, they flinch. They back off. They start bargaining with reality. Maybe this isn't the right path. Maybe the timing is wrong. Maybe this just isn't for me. No. Maybe they just never accepted the cost. See, pain is not a punishment. It's the entrance fee. It's the toll you pay to cross the bridge from mediocrity to greatness. And most people don't want to pay it. They want to rise without weight, succeed without sacrifice, win without bleeding. But that's a fantasy, a delusion sold by liars and consumed by the weak. The truth? Every goal worth having comes with pain. Not once, not occasionally. Every single time. Why? Because anything that forces you to grow will also threaten your comfort. And if you're not willing to trade comfort for conquest, you've already lost. The power of persistence begins the moment you say, I know this will hurt, and I'm doing it anyway. That's when your brain stops looking for the exit. That's when your body stops fighting the resistance. That's when your soul starts forging steel. Let me be brutally honest with you. It's going to get ugly. There will be days you wake up exhausted before your feet even touch the floor. There will be weeks when everything you do seems invisible. There will be nights when the only company you have is your self-doubt, mocking you in the dark. And if you haven't accepted that ahead of time, if you haven't made peace with the pain, you will crawl back to mediocrity begging for comfort. But not you. Not anymore. Because here's the twist. Pain is not your enemy. It's your evidence. It proves you're not stuck. It proves you're building something. You don't hurt in stagnation. You hurt in transformation. Think about it. The burn in your muscles after a workout? That's growth. The confusion when learning a new skill? That's adaptation. The heartbreak after a failure? That's resilience being born. Every ache, every sting, every moment of doubt is shaping you, breaking the old version of you into pieces so something stronger can emerge. And the moment you accept that reality, you become unstoppable. Because now, pain doesn't signal stop. It signals, this is the way. And while others panic and retreat at the first sign of struggle, you will lean into it. You'll welcome the grind. You'll start to crave the friction, because now you know that's where the change lives. Understand this. The winners in life aren't immune to pain. They just don't let it own them. They don't see pain as a curse. They see it as currency. You want to build a better life? Then build a better tolerance for pain. You want mental toughness? Then stop running from discomfort and train your nervous system to sit inside the fire without flinching. You want to be remembered? Then show the world what it looks like to keep showing up, even with open wounds and no applause. You want to persist? Then tattoo this into your mind. Yes, it hurts. I'm still here. Say it again. Yes, it hurts. I'm still here. That right there, that's how legacies are made. That's how warriors are carved. That's how dreams that feel impossible become inevitable. But only if you stop expecting the path to be smooth. Only if you let go of the childish belief that success should be comfortable. This isn't a vacation. It's a war. And in war, you don't cry because it's hard. You focus, you adapt, and you outlast the pain until you break through. Let's get real. Everyone wants the prize. Almost no one wants the process. Everyone wants the transformation. Few are willing to suffer through the transition. You're not here to wish. You're here to work. And that means embracing the truth. There will be suffering. There will be silence. There will be sacrifice. Good. You were built for it. The fire you walk through will burn off the weakness. The nights you endure alone will teach you self-reliance. The obstacles you face in pain will forge a version of you that doesn't need easy anymore. You will no longer fear the pain. You'll understand it. And understanding gives you power. Because when you fully accept that pain is part of the deal, you stop trying to negotiate with life. You stop saying, "Please make this easier." And you start saying, "Make me stronger." That's the shift. That's the key to persistence. That's the first wall you have to break down. Your own resistance to pain. Once that's gone, what's left is pure forward motion, unshakable, unstoppable, unafraid. So the next time it hurts, smile. You're not breaking. You're becoming. Now, let's go. Step 2. Kill the timeline. Keep the target. Let's get something straight right now. The clock is not your ally. In fact, for most people, it's the noose around their ambition. You set a goal. You put a date next to it. You tell yourself, if I'm not successful by then, I'll take it as a sign. A sign of what? That it's not meant to be? That you're not cut out for it? That you should quit? Wrong. The only thing it means is that you never understood the game in the first place. See, timelines are a trick, a trap, a silent agreement you made with your ego that says, "I'll pursue this as long as it shows me proof on my schedule." But that's not how reality works. Success doesn't operate on your watch. It's not a vending machine that spits out results because you waited the right amount of time. It's a wilderness. And in the wild, only the persistent survive. So here's your move. Kill the timeline. Keep the target. Burn the expectation that you'll get there in a year. Shatter the belief that it should have happened by now. Stop mourning imaginary deadlines that were never real to begin with. Because when you tie your worth to how fast you get results, you poison your mind with pressure and self-hate. You turn every delay into self-doubt, every setback into shame, every quiet season into a personal failure. And that is how warriors turn soft. You've got to shift. You've got to go from "I need this now" to "I'm not stopping until it's mine." Period. Let the others watch the clock. Let them tap their foot, waiting for progress to show up like a delivery driver. Let them throw tantrums when it doesn't happen fast enough. But you're not here to be fast. You're here to be forever. You're here to finish, no matter how long it takes. Even if it's years. Even if it's decades. Even if you die on the battlefield still clawing for it. You don't give in. Because here's the hard truth. It's not the timing that breaks people. It's the disappointment in themselves for not arriving on time. But when you release the deadline, you release the shame. You release the self-judgment. You release the invisible noose that's been tightening around your neck every day it didn't work out like you planned. And in that space, you find something dangerous. You find freedom. Freedom to fall in love with the process. freedom to show up without needing validation, freedom to build something real, not rushed. Because rushed results are fragile, and you're not here to build a house of cards. You're here to build an empire of stone. That takes time. It takes patience. It takes showing up again and again without clapping, without applause, and without visible progress. You know what most people do? They quit 3 feet from gold. They walk away because it's been too long, because maybe the universe is trying to tell me something. Yeah, it is. It's saying, I was about to give it to you, and you left. Let me burn this into your mind. The people who win aren't always the fastest. They're the ones who lasted. When you get rid of the timeline, you stop asking, is it happening fast enough? And you start asking, am I becoming strong enough? Now you're back in control. Now you've got your power back. Now it doesn't matter how long it takes, because you've already made the decision. I'm not quitting. And when you've truly made that decision, not just said it, but committed to it with your soul, the pressure disappears, the noise fades, and you finally start to move. Not out of desperation, but out of unshakable resolve. Let me say this again. Keep the target. Kill the timeline. Want to know the truth? Success doesn't belong to the impatient. It doesn't belong to the entitled. It belongs to those who have mastered the art of being unseen, who have endured the seasons where nothing seemed to bloom, but kept planting anyway. They weren't chasing speed. They were chasing mastery. They weren't trying to be noticed. They were trying to become undeniable. And that's the kind of beast you must become. Unattached to the time. Obsessed with the target. Driven, not by pressure, but by purpose. From now on, every time the voice creeps in and says, this is taking too long, you respond with, I'll die before I quit. Because once you become immune to the illusion of timing, nothing can stop you. Not silence, not failure, not age, not odds, not time, nothing. You're not here for soon. You're here for forever. And forever always belongs to the persistent. Step 3. Create a ritual of progress, even if it's tiny. So you've accepted the pain. You've shattered the clock. Now it's time to get dangerous. Because most people live and die in spurts. They chase motivation like it's oxygen. They wait for inspiration to strike before taking action. And when that inspiration fades, as it always does, they collapse. But not you. Not anymore. If you're serious about persistence, about becoming the kind of person who cannot be stopped, then you must understand this truth. Consistency will beat intensity. Every single time. Let that sink in. While others sprint, burn out, and disappear, you are going to build a system that doesn't rely on feeling good. You're going to stop depending on motivation and start depending on ritual. Because ritual is sacred. It's not a to-do list. It's a contract with your future. It doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't care if you're bored. It doesn't care if your emotions are on the floor. Ritual means you do it anyway, because that's who you are now. You want to persist? Then start small. Start repeatable. Start with something so stupidly simple, you can do it in your worst mental state. That's where the power lives. Not in doing everything, not in conquering the world in a day, but in doing one small action that proves to your brain, I'm still in the fight. Because here's the psychology they never taught you in school. Motion creates emotion. Action creates clarity. Movement, no matter how small, breaks inertia. Let me say that again. Even the tiniest act of progress, done consistently, rewires your identity. It tells your subconscious, this isn't a phase. This is who we are now. You don't build momentum by waking up perfect. You build it by stacking victories, no matter how small. One push-up, one paragraph, one cold shower, $1 saved, one honest decision, day after day after day, no 0 days, ever. And I want to hammer this into your mind. Tiny progress is still progress, but the enemy will whisper, that's not enough. It's pointless. You need to go harder or don't bother. That voice, that's the perfectionist parasite that kills consistency. It's trying to get you to chase intensity instead of identity. Ignore it, reject it, starve it, because you don't need to do everything right now. You just need to do something, and then repeat it, and then repeat it again, until the repetition carves a new path in your brain, a new groove in your life, a new version of you that doesn't rely on motivation, because the ritual is the engine. Let me give you a brutal truth. Motivation is for amateurs. Ritual is for warriors. And you're not an amateur anymore. You're here to go the distance. That means you build a life around actions that happen no matter what. Storm or sunshine, motivated or miserable, applauded or ignored. You execute. And here's the beauty of it. When you execute daily, even when you feel empty, you gain a kind of quiet power no one can take from you. You no longer need hype. You no longer need praise. You become self-generating. The world will look at you and wonder, how are they still going? How are they not burned out? How are they getting better when I'm falling apart? And the answer won't be talent. It won't be genetics. It won't be luck. It'll be ritual. It'll be the discipline of tiny progress, stacked so many times that it became who you are. So here's what I want you to do right now. Build your base. Choose your non-negotiables. Your sacred rituals that must happen daily, no matter what. Start with 3. Small, simple, stupid proof. Examples: 10 minutes of focused work on your goal. 1 page read in a growth book. 1 healthy meal choice. 5 minutes of cold discomfort. 1 act of discipline or restraint. 1 journal entry to track the fight. And then do them. Every single day. Rain or shine. Hell or high water. Feeling like a king or feeling like trash. You show up. And by showing up, you become the type of person who always shows up. And here's the part no one tells you. That identity, that's where the real power comes from. When you stack so many small wins, you'll look in the mirror one day and realize you don't even recognize the old version of yourself anymore. You've built something permanent, something real, something no one can steal. All because you started with ritual, not hype, not intensity, not speed, ritual. So remember this. Tiny progress over time beats random bursts of brilliance. Doing it daily beats doing it when you feel like it. The process is the prize. Show up for it. Because while others are still waiting for the right time, you've already built a rhythm. And rhythm becomes a march. And that march becomes a war cry. You're not just moving forward anymore. You're becoming unstoppable. Step 4. Build a mental graveyard of your excuses. You're doing the work. You're pushing through the pain. You've buried the timeline. You've built a daily ritual to stay in motion. But there's still a war inside of you. A silent one. And it doesn't come from the world. It comes from your mind. Because persistence isn't just about action. It's about killing the voice that keeps trying to pull you back. You know the one. The voice that whispers, "You're too tired. You've done enough for today. You're not seeing results. Why keep going? You've earned a break. Nobody's watching. It doesn't matter. You weren't built for this." That voice is a liar. It wears 1,000 masks: logic, self-care, realism, humility. But it's all the same thing underneath. A weapon of the weak. And if you don't confront it, if you don't drag it into the light, it will choke your persistence from the inside out. So here's what you need to do. You must build a mental graveyard and bury every single excuse that's ever tried to own you. You don't ignore them. You hunt them. You isolate them. You expose them. And you destroy them. Why? Because you can't defeat what you won't face. And excuses are like weeds. They grow stronger in the shadows. But once you name them, dissect them, and destroy their logic, they lose their grip on you. So here's the exercise. Do it for real. Step 1. Write them down. All of them. Be ruthless. Be honest. What are the stories you keep telling yourself? Write the lies like this. "I don't have time. I'm not motivated today. I'm too old to start. What's the point if no one notices? I've already failed too many times. I'm not good enough." You might be surprised how many excuses are running your life in disguise. But once they're on paper, they lose their mystique. They're just words. They're just scripts you've been conditioned to obey. Step 2. Cross them out. Line by line. Strike through every single one like you're cutting the head off a snake. Then right next to each one, write the new weapon. Write the truth. Here's how you turn your graveyard into power. I don't have time. Make time. Your schedule isn't the problem. Your priorities are. I'm not motivated. Motivation is irrelevant. I act because it's who I am. I'm too old. Some people started later than me and still made history. No one's watching. Good. Let them sleep while I build. I've failed before, which means I've learned more than most. I'm not good enough. Yet. But I will be. Because I keep showing up. This is how you reprogram yourself. This is how you murder the inner coward, so the warrior can rise. And don't think this is a one-time ritual. No. Excuses are shapeshifters. They'll evolve with you. They'll get more clever the closer you get to greatness. What starts as "I'm tired" becomes "I should rest for recovery." Then "I deserve a reward." Then "I'm already doing better than most." And soon you're back to doing the bare minimum. Back to justifying mediocrity. Back to being one of them. You want to persist? Then this graveyard must grow with you. You revisit it often. You write the new excuses. You bury them with the same brutal honesty. Because persistence is not automatic. It is a daily execution of mental weakness. It is a constant purge of the soft logic that leads to soft lives. Let me be clear. The strongest people you know, they're not free from excuses. They just kill them faster than most. You want to be like them? Then train yourself to hear that voice and respond with violence. I'll do it later. No, I do it now. I'm too overwhelmed. Then simplify, not surrender. I don't feel like it. Good. Then it'll count even more. Every time you win that dialogue, you reinforce a new identity. The version of you who doesn't flinch. The version of you who isn't ruled by emotion. The version of you who leads your mind, not the other way around. You want to be dangerous? You want to persist when the world breaks? Then bury every excuse before it buries you. Because make no mistake, excuses don't just slow you down, They kill your momentum. They rot your character. And they rebuild the prison you've spent years trying to escape. Not anymore. From this point forward, you build that mental graveyard. And every time an excuse rises, you drag it there, you slaughter it, and you move forward, unstoppable, unapologetic, unbreakable. That's how persistence becomes your nature, not by chance, not by hype, but by murdering every lie that ever told you to quit. Step 5. Become a machine that outlasts emotion. This is the final transformation. This is where average dies, and the beast is born. You've accepted pain. You've buried the timeline. You've built rituals. You've destroyed your excuses. But if you want to persist, if you want to become a force of nature, then this is where you either break or become something they can't kill. Let me ask you something cold, brutal, and honest. Do your emotions still control your actions? Because if they do, you are still a slave. It doesn't matter how tough you talk. If you only show up when you feel like it, if your consistency is based on mood, if your execution depends on energy, excitement, or praise, you're not in control. Your emotions are, and they will betray you. Over and over and over. One bad mood can destroy a year of progress. One bad day can pull you off the path. One bad conversation can leave you spinning for a week. You think that's strength? No. That's weakness wearing perfume. Persistence, true, legendary persistence, begins when you stop giving emotion the driver's seat. You don't feel like working. You do it anyway. You don't want to show up. You do it anyway. You're uninspired, burnt out, pissed off, overlooked. Good. That's the test. That's the threshold where the old version of you used to die. But not anymore. Now, you've trained for this. You've become this. You're no longer someone who chases motivation. You're no longer someone who waits to feel right before moving. You are the one who moves regardless. You are the machine. And machines don't care about mood. They don't care about comfort. They don't care about applause. They're built to do one thing: execute. And that's what you do now. Not because it feels good. Not because it's easy. Not because someone's watching. But because it is the only option. Let me explain what happens when you reach this level. You stop needing motivation videos. You stop scrolling for the perfect quote. You stop fantasizing about easier paths. Instead, you wake up with war in your veins. Your mind no longer asks, "How do I feel?" It only asks, "What needs to be done?" That is the freedom most people will never taste. Because they're still waiting, still hoping, still chained to their own emotional weather. And every time the storm rolls in, they crumble. But not you. Because you've trained your nervous system to move without needing emotional permission. You've become so disciplined, so locked in, that it doesn't even matter what kind of day it is. There is no good day or bad day. There is only mission. Let me tell you what this turns you into. It makes you scary. It makes you uncomfortable to be around. Because others can't understand how you're still going. They're waiting for the hype to kick in. You're already on mile 10. They're checking their mood. You're checking boxes. They're resting. You're rising. You've become cold to the chaos and warm to the war. And no, this doesn't mean you stop feeling. It doesn't mean you turn into some numb, emotionless shell. It means your actions are no longer dictated by emotion. It means your principles override your feelings. It means you no longer trust your mood. You trust your mission. That's power. That's what separates the few from the many. That's what separates the builders from the watchers, the kings from the pawns, the beasts from the beggars. And here's the paradox. Once you train yourself to act without emotion, something strange happens. You start to feel pride. You start to feel strength. You start to feel honor. Not the cheap dopamine rush of fake motivation, but the deep, grounded confidence of a person who knows, no matter what happens, no matter how I feel, I will show up. I will fight. I will win. That's what persistence looks like at its peak. Not hype, not adrenaline, but identity. This is who you are now. You outlast storms. You outwork doubt. You out-execute everyone who feels like it, because they're playing checkers, and you're building empires. You've become the kind of person who acts with militant precision, a daily soldier, a walking engine of discipline. That's what makes you terrifying, because the world doesn't know what to do with someone who can't be stopped. They throw failure at you. You absorb it and move forward. They give you silence. You use it to sharpen. They give you pain. You use it as fuel. Why? Because machines don't break. They reload. This is who you are now. Not a dreamer. Not a dabbler. Not a puppet of your emotions. You are the machine, and machines do not quit. Let's bring this full circle. You came here looking for the secret to persistence, the blueprint for how to keep going when success seems out of reach. But now you know the truth. There is no secret, only scars, only fire, only the choice to become something the world can't break. Let's recap the transformation. Step 1. Accept that it will hurt. Do it anyway. You stopped wishing for easy. You embraced the pain, not as punishment, but as the currency of greatness. You made peace with discomfort and declared, yes, it hurts, but I'm still here. Step 2. Kill the timeline. Keep the target. You buried the lie that success must arrive on your schedule. You no longer chase time, you chase truth. The goal remains. But now, you pursue it with no expiration date. You're not in a race. You're in a war of attrition. And you've decided you will outlast. Step 3. Create a ritual of progress, even if it's tiny. You stopped relying on motivation. You built ritual. You showed up on the days it felt pointless, ugly, and invisible, because now you understand. Tiny progress, done relentlessly, becomes unstoppable force. Step 4. Build a mental graveyard of your excuses. You wrote them down, you faced them, and you killed them. No more I'm too tired. No more I don't have time. No more waiting for perfect conditions. You buried your weaknesses, so the warrior could rise. Step 5. Become a machine that outlasts emotion. This is your final evolution. No longer ruled by feeling. No longer stopped by mood. You've become a weapon, a force, an unrelenting presence that moves forward no matter what. You are no longer a product of emotion. You are the product of discipline. So now ask yourself, what could possibly stop you now? You've embraced pain. You've freed yourself from time. You've built systems. You've destroyed your excuses. You've outgrown emotional fragility. You're not chasing greatness anymore. You're becoming it. And from this day forward, when the days are dark, when the results don't show, when the silence feels endless, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember these words. You'll remember that you didn't come this far to give up now. You came to finish. Because persistence isn't what you do. It's who you are. And if that identity is now burned into your soul, then nothing Nothing can stop you.